So how does one become an owner or operator with bad credit? Well, listen to this 10-minute video and you'll find out. So you're in a situation where you're a company driver and you'd really like to become an owner operator, but sometimes your credit will not allow you to become an owner operator because you just can't get the traditional financing. So in today's video, I'll go over some points of what you can do to become an owner operator even if you have really bad credit. So let's start off. How do you become an owner operator with bad credit? So the traditional way is you're a company driver and then you go into the dealerships and you buy yourself a truck. Well, that finance company is not gonna be financing you if you have bad credit. Now, what do I mean by bad credit? Anything under 700 would be considered mediocre credit, and then anything under 600 is considered bad credit. So I'm talking about the guys that have probably under the 650 credit. So what can you do in order to guarantee that you get yourself a truck? Well, number one, you can buy your truck with cash and that will allow you to become an owner operator overnight. But most people really, if they have bad credit, they usually don't have a lot of cash sitting around. So what can you do? So when you're purchasing that truck from the dealership, one thing that you can do is put 35 or 45% down, and that will allow a finance company to look at you a little bit differently. So yes, you have the, something on your credit rating that's flashing for them, and that's why you have a credit rating of under 650. But when you're putting 35 to 45% down of your own money, and let's just take a $100,000 truck because it's a lot easier to count in my head. 35% down to 45% down for a $100,000 truck is about $35,000 to $45,000. Well, because you put such a large down payment, now the finance companies are more likely to take the risk on you because you are less likely to default in your monthly payments, especially when you put 35 to 45% down. What are they afraid of? Well, they're afraid of the owner operator not making his or her payment. So that is a way to guarantee to be able to finance a truck in today's world with bad credit. So for most of us out there, we really don't have the $35,000 to $45,000 to put down payment. So does this automatically mean that if I have bad credit, I cannot become an owner operator? Well, you know what? Let's just hold off on that one because there is a way that you can become an owner operator under a lease purchase program. Now, a lot of guys out there are gonna start rolling their eyes and they say, hell no, I'm never getting into a lease purchase program. But there are some companies out there that offer a pretty good lease program. Now, at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you a pay statement from a lease operator in our company that has bad credit, and he was faced with the decision whether he should continue being a company driver or should he transition into being an owner operator, but he doesn't have good credit. So it's either the lease program or continue being a company driver. So hang tight until the end of this video so you can see the difference in pay statements between somebody that is working under the lease purchase program versus a traditional company driver. So if you find yourself in a situation that you do have the $35,000 to $45,000 down, what is realistic financing rates? Well, if you have really, really good credit, you are most likely going to get, even in today's situation where the interest rates are really high, as an owner operator, you should be able to get between 7.5% to 8.5% with flawless credit. Now, if you have mediocre credit, you're probably looking at about 12.5%. And if you have bad credit with a really big down payment, probably looking at around 16 to 18%. Now, you need to ask yourself if that monthly payment is worth you becoming an owner operator, because if you're a company driver, you should be making about $6,000 or $7,000 every single month. Now, if you are an owner operator and if you have a really, really big monthly payment on your truck and you're going to be making less than $6,000 or $7,000, does it really make sense to upgrade to becoming an owner operator? In my opinion, no, it does not. So there's a fine line between interest rates and monthly payments that you need to be made aware of, where if your monthly payment is too high, then you will most likely default in your monthly payments, or you're not going to be making as much as you are as a company driver. And that's when you should actually sit and realize, should you actually fix your credit first or jump into becoming an owner operator? Well, in my opinion, I think it's better to take 6, 8, 10 months to fix your credit first before becoming an owner operator. Now, credit cards, guys, this is huge. If you have a lot of credit cards and they are backed up, so if you have a $5,000 credit card, a $7,000 credit card, most of us have multiple credit cards. And if you have a balance due on multiple cards, then this is a sign that you should not become an owner operator. There's a lot of things that come with being an owner operator, and you do need access to funds, and you cannot have your credit cards backed up because it's just gonna get worse and worse. Now, before I get into the pay statements, if you are looking for financing out there, whether you have good credit, bad credit, mediocre credit, I have created a form. This form form directly gets forwarded to the lenders out there. So if you have mediocre credit, it goes to a lender that specializes in mediocre credit. If you have bad credit, it will go to somebody who specializes in bad credit. So I highly recommend you fill out that form below, hit submit. It literally will take you about 15 or 20 seconds to fill out, and that form will go to multiple lenders. So get your rates and make sure you're shopping around. Even if you have gotten a quote for financing your truck, make sure you check that those rates are competitive. And how are you going to check it out? By filling this form out below, because let the brokers get in touch with you and make them compete against one another. So now let's get into these pay statements. So here I'm going to pull up two pay statements of two drivers, both working in our flatbed division. One driver is a lease operator, the other one is a company driver. Now with both statements, I took two drivers that have approximately 10,000 miles. So let's have a look at the company driver first. Basically, here's his pay statement. So this driver grossed out $8,900. He did get his holiday pay and vacation pay. So the driver is on payroll, and you can see here from the payroll deductions, this is with every state or province, you're going to have different payroll deductions. These are ours here in Concord, Ontario in Canada. The US is almost pretty much the same, maybe a little bit less than what we pay here in taxes, but you see that the driver netted $6,600. Now let's pull out the lease operator that ran the exact same miles, 10,700 miles. And again, he gets paid as an owner operator in our flatbed division. You can see here he grossed out $19,400. He did get paid 28.5 cents fuel surcharge, and he had another $176 that he drove 100 miles for. But you see total gross is $22,647. He had his truck lease, so this is what he pays to the company for leasing his truck. Then he has his disability insurance, buy down insurance, fuel Canadian, fuel US, and the driver took home into his corporation, really, really big. So when you are in a lease program, you are considered self-employed and you can work under your corporation. So you're building wealth within your corporation. So $10,863 is what this driver took into his corporation after he paid everything. So $10,863 is what this driver took net into his corporation. What he does from there is already up to him, and I highly recommend that you use a good tax accountant. I'll recommend M7 Taxes in this video because I have forwarded them multiple customers and a lot of them are extremely happy with their service. They specialize in truck drivers and owner operators. If you do need a free consultation with them, use my link below and get a free consultation with them. A 30-minute consultation could actually save you thousands. And tax planning and tax deferral, that's the name of the game. You need to properly plan your taxes. So when this kind of money goes into your corporation, you're only taking for yourself a salary and the rest stays within your corporation where you're building wealth. What you want to do with that money, that's up to you, but you need to think about passive income. I won't get too much into that. I created a whole separate video for that, but hopefully you learned something from this video. If you are thinking of becoming an owner operator and you have bad credit, remember, sometimes it's better to just wait it out before becoming an owner operator. Sometimes if you can save $35,000 or $45,000, any finance company will finance you because you have more than 35 or 45% down. And then in other situations, it might be worth it for you to become a lease operator because you can't fix your credit and you don't have an immediate solution and you'd like to be making more than what you're making right now. So hopefully you learned something from this video. I'm Ronen, R-O-N-E-N, and I'll catch you in my next video.